Who want one last trip to the long trail?
Kazuya is a character that suffered a lot. This guy was just a normal kid living a normal life, and then his mom turned out to be a half demon of sorts. She betrayed Heihachi, she tried to kill him, which was her original mission before she fell in love, and then Heihachi just outmatched her, outclassed her, and killed her. He then started to wonder, well, if she's a half demon, what about the kid that me and her just had? He told Kazuya straight up what happened. I killed your mother, this is why, what are you gonna do about it? And they fought to the death, basically. Of course, Kid Kazuya could not beat Heihachi. Heihachi stumped him into the dirt, throw him off a mountain, expecting him to never ever return. Kazuya did not give up. From the age of about 5 years old, this guy lived his whole entire life on his own, and he came back in Tekken 1 to reclaim the throne and get revenge. Everything that he's done was to eliminate Heihachi once and for all.
The pain from this injury has stayed with me. The only thought that kept me going was the possibility of living to get revenge on my father.
Get revenge. It doesn't matter if he's half demon or not. What Heihachi did is unacceptable, and I would agree with this. Look at the way Jun Kazama reacted. She understood who Kazuya was, and also Heihachi and the demons and Devil Gene and all this stuff, but she didn't take Jun Kazama to a backyard cliff, challenge him Agni Kai, and throw him down the mountain. She tried to teach him to harness that power for good, and even though she was removed from the picture, so Jin Kazama kind of went ballistic after her disappearance, she still tried to teach him to use that power for the best of his abilities. And as you can see, he turned out so much differently than Kazuya Mishima. Kazuya Mishima is kind of pure evil, where Jin is kind of like a conflicted, confused, lost soul. In Tekken 6, we're dropped a major bombshell, a illegitimate child, which is Lars Alexander. Lars shows up and he changes everything we know about the Tekken franchise. This guy is just as powerful as Jin and Kazuya without having the Devil Gene. I would argue if you remove the Devil Gene from Kazuya and Jin, which it seems like Tekken 8 may be leading to, he would now become the strongest. That's just how powerful this guy is. Which leads us to the next question. Lars is on Jin's side. Lars is just as powerful, if not stronger, than Heihachi and can rival Kazuya and Jin. But what happened if you introduced more of Heihachi's illegitimate children? What happens if some of them teamed up with one another? What does that universe look like? When Lars showed up, he basically was like, what kind of sick joke is this? I'm on the path of getting rid of my father, and now you mean to tell me there's more of them out there? There's more mini-me's out there, mini Heihachis out there? He just cannot catch a break. But what he says at the end is so fascinating. Before walking away, because he's done with the situation, he doesn't want to be involved anymore. But he stops and he says,
You
let him get away.
the Mishimas are cursed by two things. One, backstab, betrayal, as Kazuya Mishima says here, but also the Devil Gene. These two things are like intertwined, and Mishima and also the world of Tekken just cannot escape it. I always say that I would love to see a backstab of some sort in Tekken, but so far I'm just not seeing that out of Lars Alexander. Maybe the adopted child, Lei Shao Kahn, Lee Shaolan, would be the character who does that. I always say this character looks very shady, and if someone was to backstab someone, it probably would be him.
I'll never give it up! Not to anyone!
But if we talk about a tweet here from Harada that was made on January 16th, 2011, this is over a decade ago, but it's now made canon once again with Tekken 8. Someone says, after seeing Lars in Tekken 6, does Heihachi have any other illegitimate children? Harada says about 18 to 25 all over the world. Or more. There could be more. I confirm 9. Through leaked information and details about Tekken 8, we know that one of those characters is coming in a major way for Tekken 8, and this is Reina. Just understanding what Heihachi represented at the end of Tekken 7, he was trying to bring down the Devil Gene, G Corporation, he was trying to eliminate the devil gene from the game. Even though he did a lot of evil in the past, in Tekken 7, they were trying to frame him as this hero. Tekken 7 really did its hardest possible to retcon all of his mistakes of the past and make him a hero. And when you talk about Reina being introduced in Tekken 8 to replace him, not only with fighting style, but also what I would assume in story, it makes sense that she would continue that trend of being a good guy, trying to, one, save the Mishima Zaibatsu, which we know it's being destroyed right now. Kazuya Mishima turned it into his shoe closet. Kuma is kind of wandering around wondering how he's going to basically take back the Mishima Zaibatsu from G Corporation and also Jin. For her to have Heihachi's moveset, that means she would be directly trained by Heihachi. Reina would actually be what Kazuya was supposed to be, because if you think about it, Heihachi was training Kazuya Mishima way back when. That's where he originally learned the Hell Sweep and the Electric. But his training ended when he was 5 years old and he just had to perfect the techniques that he was taught. Reina is a character who would have went through the many steps of Heihachi's training, kind of like Jin Kazama, but she would have continued for longer than just 4 years like Jin Kazama. She would have continued all the way until, I'm guessing they're going to make the character probably like 20, 21 or something like that. She would have continued all the way up until that time and really mastered it. So we're going to see what Heihachi training someone to be another Mishima is really like. She is going to really represent like a perfected, like refined Mishima trained Heihachi warrior. And seeing that go up against Kazuya Mishima is going to be insane. Now, the power that this character will be able to dish out is hard to even comprehend, because we know how powerful Heihachi is, but it seems like the children of Heihachi is stronger than him. But if we go back to the other 8 confirmed, they said 9, one of those is Reina, but the other 8 children out there, Reina having strong connections to Heihachi, she would have to know of at least some of their existence. Of course, a lot of those people Heihachi would have completely abandoned, and they would have no Mishima training, they would have no skills. They're probably working somewhere in the fast food. When they do an electric, it's them flipping a pancake, you know, perfect EFG pancake flips. Some of them probably would not be trained at all. But the ones who are, the ones who knows about their Mishima lineage, those are the ones who are very interesting, because just seeing the whole abandoned child route played out in stories before, sometimes they harness this sort of bitterness to where they feel like, I deserve a piece of the pie. The Mishima Zaibatsus own the world, so is G Corporation. Those children would want a piece of what Kazuya Mishima has, especially if he's not appreciating it himself, especially if he's just running wild and just being chaotic. They would want to address him and take everything from him. So far we've seen 1 children from each mother, but what if there's a mother who has like 3, 4 children? Those siblings would presumably have a much stronger bond than Kazuya, Lars, and Reina. And if they would show up to combat Kazuya Mishima, the chances of them overwhelming him is extremely high. The only thing is, they don't have Heihachi Mishima training them. I mean, look at Lei Shao Kahn. He was adopted because he already showed potential, but Heihachi turned that potential into a world-class fighter. This is what he was able to do just as a master. So the other siblings wouldn't really harness that power, but at the same time they harness that blood of a Mishima. And we know they do not go down without a fight. Just seeing this tweet from Harada and it being reconfirmed with Tekken 8 and Reina, the future for Tekken has so many different possibilities, but I also don't think Tekken will just go the path of every single Tekken list to introduce another Mishima. I think they will be very selective with who they show, and some of these characters may never appear. It took us a decade to see 1 of the confirmed 9. How many more decades until we see another one? This is the real question that we must ask ourselves.